So nothing is far-fetched for me with Tesla. That's what it really comes down to. Really, when you have the talent that they have and the leader in Elon Musk and sort of the culture that they've built, it's kind of hard to bet against any possibility. It just becomes a game of statistics. What's the likelihood that Tesla will reach $8,000 to $10,000 a share price by 2030? It's not so much that it's impossible, but what's the likelihood that they will or they would? And I think because of the variables that they have, the likelihood for a Tesla to reach those levels is much higher than others, but it might still be 1% or 2% or 5%. I think as long as FSD gets solved, as long as they reach 20 million cars per year, and as long as the bot is a reality, literally the sky is the limit, I believe. And that could be 10,000, that could be 100. I don't know what the hell that number is, because then you also have to take into account if Tesla becomes this force of mass manufacturing, there's also going to be deflation. You're also going to have a lot of deflation for a lot of these technologies. But then how is that cost curve down in comparison to the adoption of the rest of the world? Because the one thing that we haven't even touched on that I think is going to be massive for Tesla, especially as it relates to Master Plan Part 3 that they're going to unveil here on March 1st, we haven't even talked about how this impacts developing nations. You know, you have something like 4 billion people in the world have less than $100,000 net worth. Not that it's low, but it's like they have enough wealth, somewhat, but they're not like, they don't have money coming out of their ears, so they can't afford anything and everything. They're very cost conscious, as they should be. Everybody should be cost conscious, but they really have to plan their lives around that money. And then you have another 2.7 billion people in the world that have nothing to their name. They have $0 to their name, that live in abject poverty. What happens when you have technologies like the battery and solar and electric vehicles that are going to be significantly cheaper to run per mile than these things, and you create economies around these new technologies that's going to enable 6 billion people to now enter this new wave of technology where transportation is incredibly cheap and you can generate your own power, no problem. Oh, and by the way, Starlink. You're also going to have the internet, and you're going to be able to work with anybody else in the world. This is the kind of future we're heading towards. And this is where Tesla is going to be able to like play part of that future. But the question becomes, how much of that do they pocket as profit using supply and demand mechanics? And how much of it do they say, you know what, we ultimately want to move humanity forward. We're going to go cost plus, 35% margin, and then we'll just scale up until we get there, right? And it just becomes a question of which dynamic's going to play out. And whoever the leader is at the company is, I think, what's going to dictate that playbook. So it could be $1,000 a share, it could be $1 million a share. Not financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's how I think about it.